Dear loving students, welcome to the online class of 9th standard. I hope you are keeping fine. Most of you have done the previous test very well, but some of you did not do it properly. I want all the students to learn the question answers and do the test properly. In 8th standard, you have already studied about Constitution. In 9th standard, we will be studying in little more detail about constitutional design. Why there is a need for constitution? What factors were responsible for the making of the Constitution of India? Why should we accept the Constitution which was made by the Constituent Assembly some 50 years ago? We also study about apartheid in South Africa. We study about the role of African National Congress and Nelson Mandela, who fought against racial discrimination in South Africa. We also learn how Constitution was made in South Africa. As we study in detail, you will understand more about why there is a need for Constitution of India. We know that there are 4 essential requirements for a nation. A nation should have a territory, a nation should have a population, a nation should have a government, and a nation should have a constitution of its own. Then only we can call a country as a nation. So, let us study in detail about constitutional design. So, dear students, let us come to chapter 2, constitutional design. You have studied in the first chapter what is democracy and why democracy. So, now let us come to the next chapter, constitutional design. You had already studied about constitution in 8th standard. So let us study little more detail about constitutional design, how the constitution was framed in India. Who played an important role in the making of the Constitution of India? In the picture you can see the picture of Constitution of India. So let us study in detail about the constitutional design of India. First question, what is Constitution? It is a set of rules and laws according to which a country is ruled. So, it is a set of rules and laws according to which a country is ruled. Or we can say it is a supreme law that determines the relationship between the people and the government. Or people sometimes say it is a legal document according to which a country is ruled. Whatever is, Constitution means a set of rules and regulations according to which a country is ruled. We know that we have traffic rules. If we follow traffic rules, there can be a smooth flow of traffic and we can avoid accidents. So there are rules and regulations in the society, there are rules and regulations in the school. So the Constitution also is a set of rules which the people and the government, they are supposed to follow. So let us move on to the next question. Why there is a need for Constitution? We know that for a country to be called a nation, it should have four basic requirements. Country should have a population, country should have a territory, country should have a government, and all the countries are supposed to have a constitution of their own. So, constitution is an important ingredient of a nation, we can say. First point, it generates a degree of trust and coordination between people. So the constitution generates a kind of a trust and coordination between people. Second one, it defines the type and nature of government and powers of the government. What are the powers of the government? What kind of a government we are supposed to have? All these are mentioned in the constitution. The powers of the government, the powers of the legislature, the powers of the executive, what are the powers of the judiciary, what are the powers of the central government, what are the powers of the state government, all these are very clearly specified in the constitution. So let us move on to the next point, why there is a need for constitution. The constitution lays down the limits on the powers of the government. What are the limits on the powers of the government? And tells us the rights of the citizens. What are the rights of the citizens? Fundamental rights of the citizens. So the constitution lays down the limit on the powers of the government. The government has certain powers. No government exercises unlimited powers. No organ exercises unlimited power. Each one keep a check on the other. So, there is some kind of a checks and balances. So, constitution limits on the powers of the government and tells us what are the rights of the citizens. So, what are the powers of the central government? What are the powers of the state governments? What are the powers of the local governments are very clearly specified in the constitution in order to avoid any kind of confusion. Then the constitution expresses the aspirations of the people. Aspiration means a wish about creating a good society. What kind of country you want to establish? The constitution expresses. When you go through the preamble, when we go through the preamble of the constitution, the textbook of preamble is given. You go through the textbook, you'll understand how the preamble starts, or as we go ahead, we will see the preamble. It lays down the limits on the powers of the government. It expresses the aspirations, wishes of the people about creating a good society. So the constitution contains the aspirations and wishes of the people of India. Now let us come to the next question. Explain the major factors which contributed in the making of the Constitution of India. We must understand making of the Constitution of India was not an easy task. India having so much diversities of religion, culture, language, caste, class, etc. It was not an easy task. Now, let us try to study about what are the major factors which contributed in the making of the Constitution of India. Only major factors. First point, the experience of the freedom struggle had given the freedom fighters enough wisdom to frame the Constitution. The experience of the freedom struggle had given the freedom fighters enough wisdom to frame the Constitution of India. So, we got the wisdom for the Constitution of India from the freedom struggle. Second one, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India in 1928. So that was another factor. Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders had drafted a constitution for India in 1928. That was another factor. Third one, the resolution at the Karachi session in 1931. The resolution of the Karachi session of Indian National Congress. 1921 there was 1929 there was Lahore session. 1931 there was a Karachi session. In the Karachi meeting of the Indian National Congress, they mainly dwelt on how the independent India's constitution should look like. They decided what kind of constitution we should have. So that was another factor which contributed for the making of the Constitution of India. The Karachi session, the resolution, the decision taken at the Karachi session. In the Karachi session, they decided what kind of constitution India should have, where people should enjoy equal rights, people should enjoy fundamental rights, where the minority rights also should be protected. All these factors were dealt with. Then the fourth point, the familiarity with the political institutions of colonial rule also helped to develop an arrangement over the institutional design. So we became familiar with the political institutions of colonial rule, the British rule. So we also got ideas from the political institutions of the colonial ruler. So that factor also helped to make the Constitution of India. Another important point, many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution. Yes, many of our leaders, Jawaharlal Nehru, B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, and many other leaders, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution. I told you what were the ideals of French Revolution: liberty, equality, and fraternity. Liberty means freedom, equality means all are equal before law, and fraternity means all are like brothers and sisters. So our leaders, our freedom fighters, our constitutional assembly members were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution and the parliamentary democracy in Britain. They took ideas from the parliamentary democracy in Britain. They took ideas from the French Revolution. They took also ideas from the Bill of Rights in the US. So, when we made the Constitution for India, we got ideas from French Revolution, we got ideas from Britain, we got ideas from the Bill of Rights in the US, and those who made the Constitution of India, they have borrowed from many other countries' constitution. Many items we have borrowed or taken from even other countries' constitution. So something which is considered best from other constitutions were taken. Okay, so in order to make our constitution more acceptable. Now let us come to the next question. Why should we accept the constitution made by the Constituent Assembly 50 years ago? Here, a constitution which was made 50 years ago, why should we accept that? So let us, as we study the points, I think the things will be more clear. The Constituent Assembly represented the broad interest and consensus of a large sections of the society. The Constituent Assembly represented the broad interest and consensus. A common consensus means a common agreement of a large sections of the people, because in the Constituent Assembly there were around 299 members. These members were taken from different religions, languages, based on their caste, class, occupations, etc. There were people from all walks of life, and so they represented the interest and the consensus of a large sections of the society. The representatives were taken from all walks of life. Second one, no large social group or political party has ever questioned the legitimacy of the Constitution. Nobody has ever questioned about the legitimacy, the legality. Legitimacy comes from the word legal, legitimate. So nobody has ever questioned about the legitimacy of the constitution. So all political parties and social groups have accepted the constitution as it is. Nobody has ever questioned about anything in the constitution. So we see, let us move on to the next point. The Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. Yes, Constituent Assembly means they were our representatives. We cannot make a constitution by calling all the people of the country, and it's not possible. So, a Constituent Assembly was constituted taking people from different language groups, caste, religions, classes, and occupations. So, the Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. We the people of India means when the preamble starts with we the people of India means this Constituent Assembly members took decisions on behalf of the people of India. When you next point we will understand more clear. The Assembly, the Constituent Assembly had members from different language groups. They were from different language groups. Hindi, Punjabi, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, from different language groups, from different caste, upper caste, lower caste, from various caste, there were representatives. There were representatives from various religions, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, all that, and from various classes of people, rich class people, poor class people, all that. Then people from various occupations. People were also taken from various occupations. Maybe scientists, maybe doctors, maybe lawyers. All kinds of people were taken into, all kind of this kind of people represented the Constituent Assembly. So that is why we say that why should we accept the Constitution which was made 50 years ago? Because it was made by a group of people from different caste, religions, classes, and occupations. It was not dominated by any one particular group or community. Another important point is that the Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open, and consensual manner. The Constituent Assembly worked in a very systematic manner, open, transparent, and consensual manners. All major issues, they all had a common agreement. That is called a consensual manner. The Constituent Assembly did not, any member did not force its opinion on his or her opinion on anyone else. So it worked in a very systematic, transparent, open, consensual manner. Several rounds of thorough discussion took place on the draft constitution clause by clause. There was a clause by clause discussion on various aspects. Several rounds of a thorough discussion took place on the draft constitution clause by clause. So they took so much time to make the Constitution of India. We can see a picture here, the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly attending maybe the meeting, and the representatives are there. And now let us come to the next question. What are the guiding values of the Constitution of India? What are the guiding values of the Constitution of India? First one, even though Mahatma Gandhi was not a member of the Constituent Assembly, but still many members followed his vision of equality, socialism, self-reliance, etc. Even though we find Mahatma Gandhi's name missing in among the members of the Constituent Assembly, but there were many members who followed Mahatma Gandhi's vision of equality, socialism, self-reliance. Mahatma Gandhi considered everybody as equal. He tried to he played an important role in abolishing untouchability. Second point, the values embedded in the preamble to the Constitution. The values are embedded in the preamble to the Constitution. What are the values of the Constitution of India is very clearly embedded, mentioned in the preamble to the Constitution. When we read the Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution, we will understand more about the values. The Constitution declares India to be, the Constitution declares what kind of India? India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. I think you have studied about all this one in maybe in 7th and 8th classes. But let me tell you once again, remind you, the Constitution declares India to be a sovereign country. What do you understand by India is a sovereign country? India is a sovereign country means India is independent. India is free to take its own decisions. It can take its own internal and external policies. No outside country can dictate to us what we should do. India is free to take any decisions. We need not dance according to the will of any other country. No country can dictate to us. No outside country can dictate to us what we should do. I hope you understood what you understand by India is a sovereign country. India is free and independent. No outside country can dictate to us what we should do. We are free to take our own decisions in internal policies and external policies. India is a socialist country. Socialist means we give equal opportunities for all. We don't give any special privileges to anyone. All are equal. All are equal before law. So India is a secular country. What is secular country means? India, there is no official religion. We don't give official status to any religion. We treat all the religions with equal respect. Everybody can profess, propagate and practice the religion. And the government can interfere in matters of religion if such a religion and so practices bring danger to the unity and integrity of the country. That is why India is called a secular country. We give equal respect to all the religions. All are free to profess and propagate their religion. And we don't show any discrimination on the basis of religion. India is a democratic country. Democratic means people can choose the representatives. So there is a free and fair elections. A republic means where the head of the state is elected by the people. India is a republic where the president is elected by the people, maybe directly or indirectly. In India, it is president is indirectly elected. Next one, it promises to deliver justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Our constitution promises to deliver justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity to all. To provide justice to all, freedom to all, equality to all, fraternity. So that is all about what are the guiding values of the Constitution of India. So the Constitution declares India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. When you read the preamble, you understand better. Let us come to the next point of the guiding values of the Constitution of India. Another point, those who crafted the Constitution. Crafted means made, not drafted the Constitution. Made provisions for constitutional amendments. So, those who drafted or crafted the Constitution of India made provisions for constitutional amendments. Amendments means changes. Any changes you can make in the Constitution. Some changes require simple majority. Some changes require a 2/3 majority. So, but there are provisions for constitutional amendments or changes. We can bring about changes in the Constitution of India. According to the modern times, if you want to bring any changes, you can bring. But the changes has to be brought about by the Parliament, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, which has to be approved by the President of India. You have already studied about what is a bill and how a bill becomes a law, all that we have studied. So the government can bring about changes from time to time. Constitutional amendments can be done. There is provision for that. So let us just go through this preamble of the Constitution of India. It is there in your textbook also. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, you can see the word sovereign, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens what? Justice. What kind of justice? Social, economic, and political justice. Liberty of freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Equality of status and of opportunity. We are supposed to give equal opportunity to everyone. And to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, the 6th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give it to ourselves this Constitution. So that is the preamble to the Constitution. Very clearly mentions what are the guiding values of the Constitution of India. We want to make India a sovereign democratic republic and giving justice, liberty, and equality of fraternity to all. As you read it, you will understand more clear. So in today's online class, dear students, we studied about what is Constitution, why there is a need for Constitution, what are the major factors which contributed for the making of the Constitution of India. Why should we accept the Constitution which was made 50 years ago by the Constituent Assembly? And we also studied what are the guiding values of the Constitution of India. When you read the preamble, we understand we, the people of India, having solemnly decided to make India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to give it to its citizens justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. So that is the purpose of the Constitution is very clearly given in the preamble to the Constitution. So preamble is an introduction to the Constitution. In the introduction itself, very clearly mentioned what is the purpose of the Constitution of India. So I hope you have understood the lesson very well. I want you to read the chapter carefully and study well for your exams. We have already done. Please study for the pre-midterm exam. What is democracy and why democracy? Second chapter we are doing, that is the constitutional design, which will also come for exam. Then you can study economics, the story of village Palambur and the people as resource. These are the chapters which will be coming for exams. So please study well, write down the notes, learn them, and get ready for your exams. You must read these chapters minimum 2 or 3 times because question can be asked from anywhere from within the lesson. So please send the notes to me through my WhatsApp number 9847831642.